welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. Today I wanted to show you guys a little day in the life, or a few days in the life, of my sourdough starter, just to give you an idea of how I incorporate it into our daily rhythms in our baking and our cooking in the kitchen. So I will just take you along for the ride. It's been way nicer weather. So the sun is out, we got flowers planted, and I thought, what better day than to make pancakes and just have a nice sourdough breakfast. So what I do is basically feed my starter, and I let it double in size, and sometimes I'll leave it out on the counter overnight. Other times I'll throw it in the fridge after it's doubled in size, and I will throw a few cups in there with an egg, some vanilla, some salt, some baking soda, some honey, and maybe a little bit of milk if it needs to thin out a little bit, and I will make some pancakes. Once I'm done making the pancakes, usually I make enough to where I have batter ready for the next day, but in this case I had batter ready for the next day. So tomorrow or the next day, if one of my kids wants pancakes, it's really easy to whip out. But after that, I just either use whatever discard I have left in my main starter, like I do here. I'm making a loaf of bread, so I thought, hey, I've got active sourdough discard here, I'm gonna go ahead and make some bread. And I just leave a very small amount in the bottom. It's probably less than a half a cup. And I go ahead and I replace everything that I used for the pancakes and the bread, which is right around 3 cups for the container that I have. I can't fit much more than 3 cups in this bowl because of its size, and it just spills over the top when I let it activate. So I will go ahead and stir 3 cups of water, 3 cups of flour, and it's the consistency of like really thick pancake batter, and I will let it sit probably for about 4 hours on the counter. I made some bread previous day. It was really good. I had to show it. But this is what it looks like after about 4 hours of sitting on the countertop. It's bubbling, it's completely doubled in size. Maybe not quite double, but it's pretty risen from what it was. And I will go ahead and put that in the fridge because I'm not planning on making any other sourdough things probably for another day or 2. Because my sourdough starter is now in the fridge, my bread dough that I had added my starter to hours ago is really active, and it's risen a ton, so I'm doing some stretch and folds on it. I probably do stretch and folds every 15-20 minutes for the first little while, and then I probably just do one every few hours. You guys can check out my organic sourdough bread recipe in the description box if you're curious on how to make that. The next recipe I really wanted to make was, I usually start it the night before, and it's just sourdough biscuits. Really easy, but here you see I'm just replacing everything that I used out of my main starter. I believe my sourdough biscuit recipe is a couple cups of starter. Depending on how many I'm making, it can vary between 1 and 2. And so I went ahead and fed it and replaced it, and then I will let it activate on the counter again, and I just got my biscuit dough ready. I usually just ferment it overnight on the countertop and let it do its thing before I bake them in the morning. I love getting all the gut health benefits of fermenting the dough as long as you can. So something like biscuits, which is really a simple recipe of milk, butter, some salt, some baking soda, some honey. It's just really easy to throw that the night before. Are very intimidated by doing sourdough, just start really simple. I started for the first 2 years only making English muffins, biscuits, and a sourdough skillet and pancakes. And I graduated into bread slowly but surely, but it wasn't one of those things where I bit off more than I could chew. I got really comfortable with a few recipes, and then I went ahead and decided that I wanted to branch out to try other things. So if that's you, you're feeling overwhelmed, just take it one recipe at a time. Get really comfortable with that recipe and start with another one. With sourdough, the key is just to make sure you replace whatever you use out of your main starter. So whatever the recipe calls for, if it's a cup or 2 cups, just go ahead and replace your mother starter with a cup or 2 cups of flour and a cup or 2 cups of water and let it activate. That's the end of this journey for my sourdough starter. I went the whole week baking with it, and as you can see, the jar was a mess. So I went ahead and transferred all of my active starter minus a few cups that I was making for another recipe into a different bowl so I could get this poor bowl cleaned up and ready for another week of baking.